I'm sure Chandni's stories have inspired all of us. How many of you want to be an entrepreneur here? Oh, great, I see a few hands. So people who think that an entrepreneur's life is very fascinating, you go and be a speaker, you are in media all over. But honestly, it's much more than that. It's something that takes your heart and soul, where every single day you wake up and sleep thinking your dream. And that's how I started working on Style.me. Coming from a non-tech background and being a fashion graphic designer, I had a job, and I came from Indore to Delhi. I used to see people dress up really nicely, and I would feel a little shame of myself, thinking, shit, I do not have a great style. I would take my own pictures, send it to my friends, and wait for their response, which I would never get on time. So I always had this whole dream of building a platform where people can get instant fashion advice. The biggest challenge when you want to start something is, how do I start and where do I start? When you are in your comfortable zone of getting a salary every month, it becomes very difficult to take a plunge and say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to leave everything and do it. How many of you are lazy here? So was I. It took me almost 6 months to take this plunge. And it happened because a friend of mine told me, you are so lazy that you're never going to do it. And he said, tujhse nahi ho payega. And that is it. I said, I'm going to make sure that I do it. So what I've realized, and it's a pattern, that when someone says, you cannot do it, I'll make sure I prove them wrong. When someone make hurdles for me, I'll make sure I'm so strong that I'll overcome all of that. And that was the day when I decided I'm not looking back. I'm not going back to my job. I packed my bags and moved back to Indore. I come from a Marwadi family, where my parents were like, okay, you want to do a startup, very good, but pehle shaadi kar lo, and then do it. It took me a little while to make them understand that what I wanted to do was very important to do at that time. I said, I'll get married. The day I find someone, I don't have to get married for the sake of it. Thankfully, they understood. But considering I left my job behind and went back to Indore, all my friends thought what a fool she is. Like, she doesn't even know what she's doing. She's left a high-paying job and she's back here. And, it's very important to get that motivation, not just from your family, but friends as well, which I did not get. But again, I did not give up. Being a non-tech entrepreneur, the first step was, how do you start? And every single person who wants to start up something here will ask themselves the same thing. I went to colleges, I found people. And every single person I used to reach out to for help would tell me, look, until you find a tech co-founder, it's not happening. And I was like, co-founder is something that comes with time. You just can't suddenly walk in somewhere and make someone a co-founder. I hired people, outsourced. My vision was clear. I got the first version of the platform made, sorted. Went out in the market, tried it, tested it, realized it will not work because it was done on Android and not on iOS. Whereas being a fashion startup, every single blogger, every single influencer was on iOS. I was back to square one. Again, I found people, got it done. So without having a team, without having any tech knowledge, I had already built my first version of the product. Now, there were a couple of people who liked the idea and my energy, but the question would be, we see the passion in your eyes, but you're going to get married in few years or few months and have kids. Then you'll have to shut this down. And I used to be amused, like, why? Won't I find someone who'll understand what I'm doing? Won't I find someone who'll help me reach my dreams? And these were the kind of questions I would be asked. And I realized it's not acceptable. Being a woman I don't owe these answers to anyone. Like, why? You should ask me questions on how I'm going to grow. You should ask me questions on how I'm going to expand. You should ask me questions on how did I reach so far. So the energy that I used to get from people was great, nice. Maybe you did it as a hobby, very good. But you won't ever get investment through on this because you don't have a team. You still don't have a co-founder. You know what? Just get someone from IIT and IIM and you're sorted. It's like, okay. Again, I decided not to give up. It was my first pitch ever in Calcutta. And I walked out of the pitch and I got to know I'm selected. The leads realized that I need to go and pitch to Delhi again in the same organization. I went there and I realized suddenly 50 investors in front of me. Not a single female. I did not hesitate. Because when I walked in, I did not walk in as a woman entrepreneur who needed few more women to support. I went just as an entrepreneur. And to my surprise, after my presentations, 50% of the investors actually got up their seats and clapped. And I got my first investment without a team, without a co-founder, without anything. That is how I moved back to Delhi. Built my own team. My CTO is right now, he turned 20 yesterday. He sold his first company in $100,000. And he's been coding since he's 12. So age is not a number. It doesn't matter how old you are, what time do you start. What really matters is how passionate you are. How much are you willing to leave everything aside and make sure you reach your dreams. After we built the team, we did not have much money. And it was very important to create a buzz around. We did something which no one ever has done. And that is we built a trial room in the middle of a street shopping area called Janpath. It was a huge vision. Like, you know how Indian government works. The police, the NDMC, etc., etc. When I went for my research, there were at least 10 policemen who said, Madam, आप अपना time waste मत करो. लड़की हो जाओ. ये नहीं होने वाला यहाँ पर. In the last 20 years, they did not get, no one ever got a permission to put a canopy in Janpath. Again, I said, okay, when people are saying that I can't do it, let me give my best shot. I used to go to NDMC office every day. I went and met the police officers myself. I went and met the police commissioners. And I explained them why this is important. I explained them how, road shows, street shows in US and UK are so great, and why can't we have something like this in India? And I showed them the vision. And to my surprise, they agreed. We were very thrilled, and we thought probably this will be all over the place. I reached out to all the media houses, all the radios, and they would give me some weird figures to have us even for a few minutes. I said, sorry, we don't have the money. You wouldn't believe, but once we had our demo there, once we had a live trial room in Janpath, where all the shoppers were actually trying, and it was so amazing, we became viral. We were on internet viral for 2 weeks. And I was on the prime time of radio every single day, giving interviews. I think that was persistence. I did not give up. And I feel that entrepreneurship is all about that. We've been so focused, but in spite of that, had so many ups and downs that most of the time people think, shit, it's not working. Shit, I don't have the money. Shit, I don't have funds. I'm not getting more investors. We were selected to be a part of India's first reality show. And we got the highest offer on the show, which I had to turn down for whatever reasons. A lot of people told me, your startup is over now. Because when you turn down such things, you can never, get another round of funding. Honestly, I'll tell you, for 5 months, I was not able to raise funds. It's heartbreaking. It's depressing when every single day you have to sleep with the fact that you cannot pay salaries, you cannot pay rent. And those are the times when you feel like giving up. But honestly, giving up was never an option for me. It just did not occur to me that there is an option of even shutting down the company. No, never. The only thing I was working on every single day was how to come out of this problem. And trust me, the most important thing at this point for anyone is the team. Not a single team member said, okay, we are leaving or we are finding an alternative. Each one of us only focused on how can we grow, how can we do something different. That is when we started working on augmented reality. And today we are world's first AR tech platform that helps users see things without wearing it. And we've started with jewelry, and we are live in 5 PC Jeweler stores, and we are looking to expand in all their stores. I was also selected in Survive and Thrive, which happened in US, and I met Kevin Harrington, who is the real shark of Shark Tank. And since I was the part of Indian version of Shark Tank, he was so thrilled to meet me that I was all over his social media. So being an entrepreneur, one thing that I always say and I believe is, and that's worked for me, is that if you start something, just go all your way. It's not going to be bed of roses. It's not going to be easy. No one is going to come and help you. There are people who will try and pull you down at every point, but at the same time, there'll be people who will try and help you at every stage. It's up to you what do you take and what do you leave. There are a lot of people who think that what they're doing is the right way, right path, etc. But there is no right way, trust me. It's just about your guts. It's just about how you move forward. It's just about what you want at the end. If you want something with all your heart, the entire universe conspires in having you. I truly believe in it, and that's what has happened to me. So I think we still have a long, long, long journey, and the vision of Style.me is to make it world's largest fashion platform, which I'm sure we're going to do very soon, but giving up was never an option and will never be an option. Thank you.